And here we go with Sallust said, but postquam conjunction after bello confecta. So with the war complete and afterwards, when maiores nostre, when our ancestors had a consultum est, when they'd had a discussion or a little council concerning the Rhodians, nequis, lest anyone should do something, we have the genitive divitarum of riches, magus quam, more than inuria. So here's the causa. Lest anyone would say this, that for the sake of riches, divitarum, more than of any injury or insults, they had inceptum bellum. They had started the war. So what they've done is they've had a bit of a discussion, and they didn't want to seem like they'd started the war just for riches. That they demisere, they sent them away. The eos would be these Rhodian people, impunitos, unpunished. So they'd had a war. They didn't want people to think that they were just doing it for money, so they sent them away unpunished. So for a bit more information, it says the elder Cato in a speech in 167, fragments which are preserved, persuaded the Romans not to declare war on the Rhodians. The Rhodians, however, were stripped of their possessions on the mainland of southwest Asia Minor, and their trade was crippled. Okay, so part 6, etam. So likewise, bellis punicis omnibus, in all the Punic wars, of which there were 3, when often the Carthaginians etenet, so we have correlatives, both in peace and through, looks like many indutius, many truces, they had fecissant, they had done, actually through their truces they had done multa nefaria facinoris, many nefarious crimes, and never, numquam, themselves the Romans, per occasionem tali fecere. They had not fecere. They had not done things when they had such occasions, basically. So magus quid se dignum offerat. So more should be for was worthy for themselves. Quid just means something that was worthy for himself. Magus quam, more than quid, what was able to fury be done ure, rightly, in with the accusative towards them. Okay, they querebanted, they searched for what would seem to dignify themselves or be worthy of themselves rather than what they could actually, all the possibilities they could have done legally. Hoc item, so this likewise, providendum est, must be seen, dative by you, vocative, patres conscripti, the senators, the conscript fathers, that nay, lest valiant should be more stronger, that's the subjunctive, plus it means more, and a plud vos means against you, that p lentuli, the genitive, basically is scelus, this crime of lentulus and of the rest should not be have more power or more influence among you than the dignitas vostra, than your own dignity, and you nor have more of anger of yours than your fama consultatus. So he's right about their infamy or their repute or their good name as well there. So he's just advising them about the strength of the crime again, and weighing this up against their dignity and their anger and what will be recorded about them. Nem C. For if a poena digna, a worthy punishment, pro factus, for their facts or their deeds, eorum of them, is reparated, is found, so we find a worthy punishment to their deeds, ad probo, I approvo of taking a new concilium or a different form of plan to what you would do normally. Sin, so if not, or if the magnitude of their sceleris, of their crime, exuperats, goes beyond the ingenium omnium, where you get ingenuity and the genius and etc. It's just your natural characteristics. So, but if the magnitude of their crime goes beyond all normal people's characteristics, utendum sensio, so sensios, I think we should use his. Utor takes the ablative, so we should use these. Quae, so this is used for male, female, and neuter. We know it's female here. Which the legibuses, which are the laws comparata. So the laws that their ancestors had procured or created that should be used if they really think that this crime goes beyond all. Pleriqui, so means most eorum, most of those, qui who, ante me, before me, have dixeranted, have stated their sentiments, their viewpoints or their opinions. Composite, at qui magnificae, anyway, is the verb miserate. They've deplored or spoken in a miserable way about this castle, which is like the doom or the what has affected the Republic. Well composed and in a magnificent way, so gracefully or something you might want to say. The casum has a bad thing attached to it, so it's, it's bad things happened to the Republic, but people who spoke before him spoke well prepared and organised. Quae, in which was the savitia belli, the savageness of the war, which accederate to the victors, what had happened to the defeated people. They enumerated or counted the raptile virgins, the raped maidens, the puros, the boys taken away, the libros, the children, divelli, plucked away or distanced, or taken away from the complexu of their parents, the embrace of their parents, the matres familiarum, what they've suffered, conlubiscent, to the will of the victors, the fana, which are the shrines, and the domoses, or the houses they are despoiled or ravaged for booty, etc. Cadim's the slaughter, there was incendia which happened, fires that happened, and finally, or in short, there was the arms and the cadavers and the cruor, which is the blood, and the luctor, the grief. All this, omnia, was compleride, lamented or something like that. 10. Said, but per dios immortalis, through the immortal gods, quo, to where did illa oratio, these orations or these defences, what were they pertaining to? What was the end result? Compleri also is an alternate spelling of compleri, so that filled up all their talk. What was the end result? Where was all this oration going? And utai vos, whether it should be that this should make you, facerets, making, would this make you infestos, would it make you hostile to the Coniuration, to the conspiracy? Obviously, or without doubt. Quam him who, res tanta in tam atrox, such a matter and so atrocious a matter, or fierce a matter, so quam, who would non-permove it? Who would not be moved by such a matter and so atrocious, that him, eum, accenda, so he'd be burning from an oration, or some fierce talking would get him moved, I'm guessing. Non it est, it's not so, nequi, and neither cui quem to anyone, mortalim, of the mortals, so neither is anyone who's mortal, would videntor, would see their own injustices or their own wrongdoings as a small thing, a parve. Many people, habore, they consider these gravius more serious than eque, than fair. Said, but alia alias licentia. So others have licentia, more license alias than others. Patres conscripti, conscript fathers. Some people have more license than others. How far are we going today? Down to here. Qui demisso in obscuro vitam habet. So something like those who habent, they spend their lives, though they have a life, demissi, spent in obscure situations, sequid. If there's something delinquere, if they've become delinquents, basically, if they've done some delinquency from iracundia by being very angry, porcae scant, very few people will ski on this. Few people will know about it because this guy is living in obscurity. Fama and fortuna iorum. So the fame and the fortune of these people are pares, the same. They have a lowly life, lowly fame, lowly fortune. Qui, he who is praediti, he is endowed with or given, takes the ablative, a magno imperium, who's been endowed with great power. They agunt their aetatem. They live out their lives or their age in excelso, in a very high place. The facta iorum, the deeds of them, cuncti mortales, all the mortals novre. So all people know the deeds of those who have been gifted with great power and are living a very high life, important life. They're known by everyone. So I've set up a daily dictionary word of praeditus. Praediti is the plural male. Someone who's endowed, gifted, provided with, possessed of something, construed with the ablative. Post-Augustan of a deity, construed with the dative. Someone who's presiding over things. Praeditus. Okay. So ita in maxima. So thus, in maxima fortunam, so in a great fortune, minima licentias. There should be the least licenseness, or the least laxness, really, in their life. If you've got a great fortuna, everyone's looking at you. You shouldn't have too much freedom. You should be setting a good example. Neque studere, neque odisse. So you shouldn't be too studious for something, nor should you odisse, which is hating. Said, but their decet, taking the infinitive, there ought to be minimi irasci, least amount of anger in their judgments and the roles they play in society, you might want to say. 14. Que. The things which apud alias, amongst others, is dicator, called iracundia, it's called anger or wrath. This thing in the imperio, into someone with power, imperium, is appellator, called superbia, which is arrogance or proudness, and crudelitas, which is cruelty. Equidem ego. Ego means the first person. Equidem usually refers to the first person as well. So you might want to say I for my part, or me concerning myself, or well, I. Thus existimu. I think thus, sick. Senators again, patres conscripte, vocative. All cruciatus, all sort of crucifications, all tortures. He's existimoing. He thinks that all the tortures are minores, quam, minor than the facinora illorum to be. So he thinks any type of torture you give these people will be less than what the crime of these people deserves. Almost done. Said pleriqui mortals, but most men are mimineering, thinking about their postrema, the things that they've just done in the past. And in hominis impius, these are the impious men, they are oblitae, plural, they are forgetful of their sceleruses, of their crimes, and de poene, considering their punishments, they disserunt, which you get elegance and things like that. Usually means to speak rather eloquently. But C, eo Paula, if this is just a little bit severer, that's a comparative. So basically, from this bit, it looks like he wants them to be punished because they've done such a bad crime. But most mortals, this is like the third time he's called people mortals in this, they just think about what they've recently done, and the impious men, they are forgetful of their crimes. So if you want to be a little bit more severe than normal, then obviously they won't be able to be oblita, they won't be forgetful of their punishment if they're actually given a severe punishment.